Hello and welcome to a special web-only edition of TMI with Aldous Tyler. This is not going to air on the radio because, for one thing, I have some visuals to go over with you. Now, as you may be aware, TMI with Aldous Tyler aims to be the cure for the common media, and to do that, I need to make sure that we're not just including the broadcast media, the cable TV shows. No. The internet is very much the media, especially nowadays. Most people, it seems like, get at least a portion of their news from online websites like X, Twitter, as I prefer to call it, and Blue Sky, now joining the discussion, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You get the idea, right? So clearly, the media that TMI needs to be the cure for is not just the big broadcasters. And to that point, there was a meme that went around recently that, and I'll show it to you right now on the screen. As you can see, it says, in 2024, only 2 states voted unanimously. Let's compare. And then it shows a map of Oklahoma with all of its districts voting some shade of red for Trump. And it notes that Oklahoma is 44th in education, 49th in healthcare, 44th in quality of life, 50th in test scores, and the top 10 worst poverty. It's in that top 10 list. Meanwhile, underneath that, every district showing blue for Harris is Massachusetts. And it says, by comparison, they're first in education in the country. They're the second in healthcare, first in quality of life, first in test scores, and they're in the top 10 least poverty states. Now, the funny thing is, when you come across these, you have your right off the cuff immediate things that come to mind. And the first thing came to my mind, and when I reposted this was, well, one of these things these states have in common is that both their names come from native tribal language. You know, Oklahoma was actually a Choctaw phrase, or at least derived from a Choctaw phrase. Massachusetts derived from the name of a tribe. But, you know, the funny thing about that, then, is one state drove out almost all of its native population, where the other state, Oklahoma, was where many native nations were driven to. And you'll notice the conditions that we're happy to let these sovereign people live under, which we colonials won't put up easily with for ourselves, right? We have no problem with Oklahoma scoring so low on all of these categories, right? But, you know, if it's Massachusetts, home to mighty Harvard, oh, no, we're not going to let that happen. But something didn't feel right to me. I was looking at this going, there's something off. The first thing is, only 2 states voted unanimously. Only 2 states, it said, had where all the districts went for either Harris or Trump. That didn't seem like that could be correct. So I looked into it just a little deeper. It didn't take long. And first of all, Hawaii voted all Harris. And I'm sorry, but Hawaii is a state. We can't keep forgetting it. But what was more interesting is this. Here, let me pull this map up here for you. That's Massachusetts. That's how the districts actually voted. You might notice no small amount of them went for Trump. I don't know where the meme got their map of Massachusetts showing all Harris, but that was not the case. So we need to be careful. We need to stop assuming that what we're being handed is the literal truth when we post it. We need to challenge these things. So the other thing that I noted was that, you know what? Oklahoma, yeah, it's reliably red, unfortunately, the way it votes. But there was one other state that voted all Trump. And only one. Care to guess? West Virginia. What can I tell you? So Oklahoma and West Virginia both went all districts for Trump. Hawaii was the only state in the union that went all districts for Harris. Now, if you're going to go ahead and compare the way this meme does about the how one state does versus another when it comes to education, infrastructure, all that kind of thing, Hawaii, I'll note, does remarkably better In education, being 34th place, not the number one of Massachusetts, of course, but 34th place. And that's much, much better than either West Virginia or Oklahoma. In healthcare, Hawaii actually beats Massachusetts. They are number one for healthcare, right? And in poverty, they're in the top 5 lowest poverty of all the states. So again, if you want to actually have an all-Harris unanimous state to compare with, you need Hawaii. And Hawaii still compares well if you're going to do that against the states of West Virginia and Oklahoma, the two that were all Trump. But I just want to make sure we understand a few things. It's not all cut and dried. Only 3 out of 50 states were 100% by district Trump or Harris. Every other state, no matter how red you might think they might be, had at least one district go Harris, or one or more districts go Trump, no matter how blue you think they might be. This country needs to understand that this whole division, state by state, that the Electoral College does, is a really poor representation. If you look at the Electoral College figures, Trump has a blowout. If you look at the popular vote, it's pretty darn close. Trump, in fact, doesn't even have 50%, thanks to the fact that there was just enough third-party interest that neither Trump nor Harris have 50%. Harris clearly, has about 1.5 million less votes than Trump did. But the point is this, it's only 1.5 million. We're talking about a total amount of votes that is closing in on 150 million. And with only 1.5 million margin, that's the narrowest margin of popular vote since Bush v. Gore in 2000. So, again, all I'm saying is when you consume your media, and you see a meme like this one that looks really attractive, right? Just remember, dig a little deeper, just a little deeper, to make sure you're actually getting the facts that are relevant to the conversation. Thanks for watching TMI with Aldous Tyler. Have a great week.